game for Roy Halladay.
So let's get to it. Training camp started yesterday for the NBA and for our Philadelphia 76ers. The anticipation is killing me. Rob Lange said it best the other night. If the Eagles were a good team right now, yeah, I'd be excited for the Sixers, but I'd just be sitting back waiting for them to come. With the atrocity I have to watch every week and think about every day of my life that this team in green puts on the field, I cannot wait to see Doc.
I'm foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, and the new look
Foaming.
Sixers.
The new look Sixers. That's why it's so exciting. It's the new look Sixers.
So
They were so aggressive all season.
A lot of comments have been made stemming from yesterday from Doc Rivers and some of the players. So we're going to touch on his comments about Shake Milton, his comments on Ben Simmons, comments on Furkan Korkmaz, his comments on Tobias Harris. So let's get into it. Let's start with Shake Milton because that's the biggest one right now, guys. Doc has praised him.
Weight room.
He came out today and said that he's gained double-digit 13 to 14 pounds in muscle since the bubble. Doc said he wants to give Shake the freedom when he's more freedom out on the court, play freer. Shake says he loves that idea. So again, I'll throw this to you first because you just hopped on. You didn't get a lot of that interview, and so what are your thoughts on Shake, on the comments Doc has made, Shake gaining muscle, and kind of what you see his role being after these comments? Because initially we thought, okay, this says Shake in the starting lineup, that fifth starter. Me and Snap were talking earlier. I'm seeing more of the big six-man role after those comments. What are your thoughts?
I would think he would be the six-man on a more normal team where I think Ben will be in a roller spot a lot. So I still think he'll be a starter, and I still think he'll play on the ball a lot. Because he brought up Lou Williams and Jamal Crawford in terms of guys that he can compare Shake to, those were guys that came off the bench a lot. But with the way I think he'll use Ben and the way that it's perceived that he'll use Ben, that he'll be a roller sometimes. And you're going to need a guy that can play on the ball and handle the ball well, which Shake can do, or handle it somewhat. The whole 15-pound muscle thing is awesome unless it slows him down and he can't guard anyone because he already struggled to guard people. So now – But I have a lot of faith in Shake this season. I was shaky on Shake going into the bubble. But I really think Shake can turn into a decent NBA player.
I completely agree with Gint where, I think Shake, this is going to be the year Shake, we see close to 13 points, 15 points a game, but I think they're going to come off the bench. I think a lot of this narrative that of Shake being a starter was just because of how much praise he received early on in Doc's tenure coming in. Because he was on the roster, but now we have new additions. He's talking about giving him freedom, and he wants Ben to have freedom when he's on the court. He's talked about that too. So I think having another ball-dominant player like a Shake Milton, even though he is very good on the catch-and-shoot three, but I feel like the energy right now is he's going to want Shake to just, come off the bench, do your thing. I know what you can do. Let's get you your reps. Let's prove who you are. And I think coming off the bench would be better because you can pair him with a Tyrese Maxey or whoever else you're bringing off the bench with him, and you can have a lot of fun with that, especially with a Dwight Howard. If Shake and Dwight Howard are splitting some minutes, run some pick and roll, it'd be really fun to watch. But I do think Shake is going to be off the bench because I think they want to get the most amount of what he's good at, and that's scoring the ball.
Yeah, well, we have two comments. We have two tweets out from quotes from our guy Jason Blevins here at the Painted Lines. Shake Milton on Doc Rivers wanting more pick and rolls in the 76ers offense. We talked about it. He said you want to play fast and do more pick and rolls, and I definitely feel like that's something I'm going to be able to do. And then his comments on playing free, having the freedom to make plays and have the confidence in what you're doing, whether it's the shooting work, whether it's me driving, getting somebody else open for a shot, just having the confidence to go out there and be more aggressive. Those comments from Shake Milton earlier today. George, so what are your thoughts on Shake and Doc's comments about his role increasing and playing more free on the court this year?
I feel like it's best for the Sixers that he comes off the bench. Not to say the full season. Well, maybe he'll start at some point, but to start the year off coming off the bench would be great for him. We know what Shake is. He's a really good shooter. Hopefully elevates a lot more this year too. He's not that good a defender. So him coming off the bench, you could definitely pair him up with guys that he's going to hopefully sauce up, to put it lightly. I think I think it's just best for the team at this point to bring him off the bench to start the year. But it's going to be interesting because Doc's praise for him is like very high, and what we want from Shake this year is development because it's not like he's a complete player yet. Like we're gonna hopefully see more from him than we did last year. So I'm excited to see him this year, and hopefully he takes that step that he does become a consistent starter in the NBA.
I just my biggest thing with Shake coming off the bench, because I mean, if he comes off the bench, I'm not going to be mad about it, obviously, but the way I could see it dwindling that was especially the way he talked about Furkan, because basically if you start Seth Curry and Danny Green, Furkan's going to have to come off the bench to shoot because would be one of the only players left that can really shoot the ball. And then I worry about if Tyrese Maxey gets any time this year, as opposed to the little I thought he would have gotten with Shake in the starting lineup. Because if Shake started, Tyrese Maxey would probably come off the bench and be on the ball a lot, which if Shake's coming off the bench, you probably won't see Tyrese Maxey on the ball much. But, I mean, Tyrese Maxey probably won't be ready to log 15 to 20 minutes a night yet, but eventually you'd like to see that, I'd hope. So that's my only thing with Shake coming up as opposed to.
I would love to see Maxey become a 20-minute player.
I would love to, bro. He's
so that's just exciting. Like that's another guy that's
he might be better than Shake by the end of the year.
I would fucking love
I hope Tyrese takes every single minute Furkan has ever.
But the problem is, if he
Here's what I'll say about
he can't.
Here's what I'll say about Shake's role or whether he's starting coming off the bench. I'm going into this trusting Doc's. Whatever Doc does. I don't have to worry about Brett's asinine decision-making, his rotations, the minutes. I'm going to go in. If Doc thinks Shake can be a starter and he has the rotation figured out coming off the bench, Doc's going to know, guys. We're going to touch on the Furkan Korkmaz comments. I think that's something he said. He was asked about Furkan. I don't know if he actually thinks Furkan Korkmaz is going to be a big part of this offense. I hope not. But before we get to Ben, because that's probably going to be the biggest talking point, I want to talk about a guy that's kind of getting, with all the moves and with Ben and Joel being the cornerstones and with Tyrese Maxey being the big draft pick, the guy that's receiving our max right now is kind of getting downplayed. He had a down run in the bubble, but he had his best season playing for Doc Rivers. Again, from Jason Blevins from the Painted Lines. You can follow him on Twitter at JBlevinsNBA. Doc Rivers on Harris. Tobias and I talked a ton since me taking the job. First thing we got to do is to get him back to being a quick decision player. I saw him dribbling way too much, and Tobias is so darn skilled going downhill, left and right, and we need to get back to taking advantage of that. What are your thoughts on that comment? What are your thoughts on Tobias Harris? I'm sure he's going to be used a lot more in the pick and roll, just getting downhill, trying to get to the bucket, drawing contact. So again, we'll go same order again. What do you think on those comments and Tobias' role this year with the Sixers?
Yeah, I mean, I see a big year out of Tobias. When Brett Brown was your head coach, there was multiple guys that have stated they had no clue basically what their role is in the organization. I remember we got Glenn Robinson 2 weeks into it. He was like, I have no clue what I'm supposed to be doing here. So that's probably why you saw Tobias kind of out of his element. And I think Doc puts him right back in a position to succeed, which is such a good thing to have with a head coach and not a guy that literally looked clueless on the sideline. So I see a really big year out of Tobias. He's back at the 4 where he should have been the entire time. Fours can't guard Tobias Harris. That's why you saw 20 points a game in Los Angeles. So I'm really excited for Tobias Harris.
Do you think Doc's going to – because I've heard comments. Do you think Doc's going to flip him back and forth depending who else is on the board?
In terms of what, the 3 and 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I don't think it will be with Dwight Howard and Joel Embiid, as we saw last year. But there could be some situations where you could see him go a little bit bigger.
All right, snap Tobias Harris.
I think going off what you said, how we kind of aren't talking about it, and you get them small comments from Doc about it. I feel like people aren't even worried about it. It's almost like, oh, cool, we got the coach that almost made this guy an all-star in the West. The West. You know what I mean? He was the best player on a Clippers team that had no business cracking the playoffs that year. So I just feel like the public opinion is oh, okay, he's going to fix Tobias. I'm not worried about it. Because you said on those comments, he did do too much dribbling. He's not that type of player. He's not this ISO guard or this ISO forward like a KD or a Melo. Like, no, he likes to get downhill. He likes to push the pace, and he likes to shoot the ball when he's open. So put him in them situations. And I think Doc's going to absolutely do that, especially having him at the 4, which is just going to stretch the floor like we need, especially when you have all these shooters now on the team, from Shake to Seth to Danny, all these catch and shoot 3 guys. I just think it's the perfect situation for Tobias. And I could see this being possibly Tobias' best year, depending on how we see Ben scoring the ball and what Joel does scoring the ball. But as of right now, I feel like the public is just not worried about him. Like, the fan base is just not worried about him, even though he just had an awful playoff run in the bubble, because you got the guy that got ultimate value.
That got the most out of him.
Yeah, like, this is the guy that, like, again, he was almost an all-star in the Western Conference. Like, he almost was an all-star in the Western Conference. The players that were in the Western Conference at that time, you have Kevin Durant. You have some amazing, like great small forwards and forwards out there, and he almost cracked it. Like, I'm not worried.
George.
There's legitimately zero reason not to be optimistic about Tobias Harris this year. Like, you're bringing in Doc Rivers and you're subtracting Brett Brown as the head coach. Nobody knew their role under Brett Brown. Now you're bringing in Doc Rivers, who brought the most out of Tobias, and we saw that there's no reason not to be optimistic. And this is a guy that last year everyone was screaming at and they wanted in his head, and now everyone just seems to be zen. Like, I have zero worry about it, and I really do expect 40+% from 3 again. I expect it's the max player that we signed. I expect the shooter Tobias Harris to come out, and I expect him to have a huge role in this team. I've zero concern about it. And with Doc especially, I don't think anyone should be worried. I feel like he brings the best out of Tobias, and we saw that in LA, and we're going to see it again in Philly. It's going to be great. I'm super pumped.
One thing I want to ask, did you guys see his comment that said he wasn't worried about Ben shooting the ball?
Yeah, we're
going to get to that.
I didn't know if you guys had talked about that already.
No, we're going to get to that. But
about Seth,
the biggest thing, you know what I was just picturing while you were talking, George, is a Tobias at the 4 when Shake's in at the 1 for Ben, and just Joel surrounded by 4 shooters. And I just can't wait, because I think having Doc,
not to be optimistic as ever.
Having Doc, and not just Doc, we're not even talking about the rest of the coaching staff.
We have like 4 better coaches than we did last year.
Yeah, like having a coaching staff that's going to come in and say this is how you're being used. That was wrong. Let me show you what you and how right it is.
Wait. That's possible? That can happen?
You can also, another thing we learned about this offseason, you can draft a scoring guard in the draft. It's something that's just mind-boggling. You can acquire a guard that can score his own bucket.
The Pistons just took Jello Ball over Zaire Smith.
Yep.
Zaire Smith and picked up Jello Ball.
Yep. What the hell was that?
All right, so
did it though. He got all of his boys in the NBA.
Well, Jello's only
comments. You see comments about bringing them all to Charlotte, and his boys are going to win a
title.
The 3 balls.
You forgot to mention they also have to bring LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Kawhi Leonard to win that.
All right, so Gint kind of ruined it. I was going to save it for last, but that's what Gint does here. Well, let's get to Doc's comments about Ben, because we talked George and said something about Snap said getting the best out of Tobias, getting the most out of his players. I think that's something Doc Rivers is going to be able to do here with Joel and Ben and all the role pieces. The interesting thing is getting the most out of Ben in a lot of people's eyes is getting Ben to shoot the ball. And Doc said today or yesterday that he doesn't care about that nearly as much as many, many, many other people do. How do you guys feel about those comments? Because I think in a lot of people's eyes, Doc was going to come in here and get Ben to shoot the ball. If that doesn't happen, just what are your thoughts on the comments?
So, I mean, I've only stated the fact that I think Ben Simmons is an awesome basketball player right now without a jump shot, which that doesn't mean you can't get a jump shot. I think his comments are good as opposed to what you see in the past where it was like, I'm frustrated with the fact that he won't shoot, which is what Brett would say. And he would say, I don't know why he's not shooting. It's good to see your coach accepts you as an all-star that you are. You know what I mean? So, I don't know what just happened. I heard like a ding.
Yeah.
But so that makes me really happy that he wants an all-star, and he doesn't need his all-star to change his flaws. But again, that doesn't let Ben off the hook. We can't see Ben 4 people in the paint and no one within 10 feet of him.
Yeah.
And that's all I had to say about it.
That's all I want, man. Like, I just want Ben just to get to the rack, and then when you're not handling the ball, if you're in the corner, if you get the ball in the corner and you're open, put it up. That's all I want to see. I don't care what the percentage is. Just put it up, man. That's all I want. Snap. What are your thoughts on Doc's comments about not caring about Ben shooting the ball?
One, I will say this: if Brett Brown said this and he was the coach, we'd crucify him. Yeah. But there's some more trust to hearing a guy like Doc say it. Hearing a guy like Doc say that about your all-NBA player, your all-star guard, not only does it show that he trusts Ben and what he does, it kind of makes you feel like he has a plan in place. What he needs to do to get the most out of Ben, what lineups are going to be put out there to get the most out of Ben. And regardless if he says he's not worried about him shooting the ball, I know he is to a degree. There is that, like, okay, like I'm not going to force you. Like, I'm not going to put a limitation on how many jump shots you need per game, but we're going to work on this. Like, we're going to start running sets, like, where you're open in the corner more. I don't see Doc not addressing that, but I think he almost wants to, like Kim say, put some confidence and, like, reassurance into Ben Simmons where I got your back, dude. I want you to do what you do and just keep it at that right now. Like, we'll talk about the jump shot behind closed doors because it's constantly being talked about with you. I don't need to put that out in the media for more people to talk about it. We're just going to worry about what you do great, and I'm going to tell the media that we're going to worry about what you do great. And, like, Dylan, like you said about Joel Embiid being in a lineup with Shake and all them, I think I'd much rather see Ben in a lineup with all them. You have the first time since, what was it, 2017?
Oh, yeah. Okay. In place of Joel? Like,
first time since 2017 where you can throw out a lineup there of all shooters around Ben.
Yeah.
I know Joel Embiid is the scorer, and he's a very good player, but Joel Embiid never went on a 16-game win streak by himself. Let's just remember that. Ben, when he has shooters around him and they do take Embiid to rest off the floor, and you can put, like, Tobias in, like, a stretch 5 position or the stretch 4 and run Ben as a point center, I think that's a total possibility as one of the lineups in a rest position for Ben, or I mean for Joel Embiid, that we could see. I think Doc is going to get the most out of Ben Simmons. And, I mean, not to go back really far in history before the three-pointer was really big in the league, but the 08 Celtics, he had Rondo, a guard that was super effective at everything on the floor but shooting the ball, and he got the most out of him and made him an all-star guard on a championship caliber team. I don't see why he can't get the most out of Ben, who is twice the player Rondo was in 08.
Agreed. George.
First, I'll say it's great that Doc sees what we see, that Ben Simmons is an incredible defender. He has eyes in the back of his head. He can get to the rack whenever he wants, and he knows that he has an elite talent in his hands, and he can do whatever he wants with them. That's amazing. And second, before you even coach the guy a day in his life, you're not going to call him out for not shooting. Like to a certain extent, you know Doc Rivers is going to push him to shoot the basketball more. He's going to push him to take open corner threes. He's going to push him to take open jump shots.
He's
not going to openly criticize him.
Decision making like Brett would.
No, right off the bat, if the media is asking you this before you even coach the man a day in his life, he's not going to say anything about a shot. He's going to say, I don't care. I know my guy. I know he's incredible talent. I know what we have in him. I don't care if he shoots. But to a certain extent, you know he wants him to shoot the basketball. Like, you know he's going to want him to shoot at least open jump shots, open corner threes, do what he can do. And what else is he going to say? I mean, that's kind of what you expect Doc to say. And I don't think he has any worry about the jump shot. I don't think anyone should have a worry right now. I think we're in good hands, and I think this team is in good hands.
Well, he also goes on to say Ben is a great decision maker. Is Ben a point guard? Honestly, I don't care. I don't even know that yet. Well, I know one thing: if you can get them in space going downhill, the ball gets to the right place. That's what he had to say on Ben Simmons. Let's get to the last. Good.
Not to cut you off. I just feel like we're going to get a team that reminds us so much of that 2017, 2018 team. They were just running and gunning. They had shooters around their stars. They had space. But don't get me wrong, the Jimmy team was really good. But in that 2017, 2018 season, that was one of the funnest seasons the Sixers ever had. There was always shooters around Embiid. There was always shooters around Simmons. They were moving quick. They were just such a fun team to watch. I feel like we're really about to get back to that, and I'm so excited.
I just think you have a head coach and a coaching staff that's going to, again, get the most out of everyone on the roster, but also have a team ready to compete night in and night out. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just over-exaggerating, but there were times in Brett Brown's tenure when they just didn't show up.
Yeah, we also used to just have god-awful players on the roster we would just let sit around there for the time being. I don't think that will be a thing anymore. There won't be any more TJ McConnells. There won't be any more these bums that were just sitting on the bench that wouldn't even probably practice hard. I mean, TJ probably practiced
You're
hard.
not going to have Aolo Neto playing playoff minutes, I'll tell you that.
I'll bring him up next, but
Korkmaz is going to be the first sub off.
Yeah, so good segue, Snap, because let's get into Furkan, because that, again, the exact word you just said is these bums sitting on the bench that are going to get
you're
playing.
being hard on Furkan. You're being hard on him.
Say all you want. I see.
Okay, you can go. I'll talk about Furkan when it's my turn.
And look, and it might be more of a I just can't. It's a guy I can't stand really, so it doesn't really matter what he does. But I know he can get really hot from three. I know he had 2 games last year, the Bulls game, and then there's another game back to back where he went absolutely off. I get it. I know hit the game winner against Portland. I get it. The dude can't play a lick of defense. He couldn't guard any of us 3 on an NBA basketball floor. And I just can't stand. I can't stand when I see. I'm messing around, but I just can't stand him. But anyway, he says Furkan Korkmaz says everyone knows he can shoot, but when talking about how much he's improved his game, I got stronger, I got bigger, and then I was working on my shot. Of course, I was working on my dribbling stuff. He also says Furkan on his IQ and what he wants people to recognize. I can come off the picks, create. I don't want to just be a shooter. If our team needs that, I'll be a shooter. And then I know there were comments, I don't have them here, but Doc saying that he's going to play a role or a big role in the offense coming up this season. Now, I don't know, again, if that's Doc just being asked a question about Furkan Korkmaz, and he's not going to come in here and just, downplay one of his guys or, throw one of his players under the bus or anything. But I can't see in any fashion that Furkan Korkmaz with this roster plays a big role in the offense. What do you need him to do? You brought in the guys. You needed him to do that last year. You didn't have shooters on the floor. You brought in Danny Green. You brought in Seth Curry. You did what you needed to do. His role is not needed anymore. So, again, you could tell me I'm wrong. You tell me I'm being a little harsh. I absolutely hate him.
I get what you're saying, but we're making an identity of floor spacing, correct? And you guys are telling me that the starting lineup should be Ben, Danny Green, Seth Curry.
I didn't say that.
What should the starting lineup be then?
Only one of them should start.
Oh, so you think Matisse should start?
I'd start T, sure.
Okay. Well, that's all I'm saying. Because in my perspective, if you want the starting lineup to consist of Danny Green and Seth Curry, off the bench, we don't have a choice but Furkan to play probably just as many minutes as he did last year. And here's why. And here's a reason I wouldn't mind it this year. One, you have a head coach that can put you in a spot to succeed. I think we could see a lot more JJ Redick-esque handoffs that I despise because Brett Brown would run it 74 times a game, as opposed to Doc probably doing it 2-3 times down the court as a quick hitter that can get you a basket. But But if you look at your bench besides that, if you do the starting lineup where I said Danny Green and Seth start, Shake Milton, Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle, Furkan Korkmaz are probably what your next 4 rotation players, right? And that are guards and forwards because Dwight Howard's obviously a center, but of those 4 guys consistently shooting the ball.
Right. That's why I would put out whatever starting lineup I had. I would start Tease, so I didn't have to play Furkan. And I just want to address this comment before I send it over to George and Snap as well. I don't literally hate him, dude. I just bothers me.
I totally
Bothers me, and I can't stand if he's not making shots, he cannot be on the floor. That is the bottom line, and I can't stand guys like that, especially when they're super, super streaky. And I know he shot it at
40%.
Okay.
40%.
Did it feel like he shot 40%?
No, Dylan.
He did.
I thought he was playing too much last year, but I think the reason we thought he played too much was because the way we were watching him, the position where I don't even know what he was doing out there because the guy at the helm that these fans fell in love with because guys that were competing for contracts played hard for him, and it's ruined 3 years of Joel Embiid's prime. Was having him out there trying to play position he probably will never see again.
No, and I get it. I get he gets into the paint and throws one down sometimes. I get, but if I have to see another Furkan Korkmaz floater, another Furkan Korkmaz runner, I'm going to lose my shit. And the basketball IQ comment, I don't know where that came from because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I don't have the basketball IQ everyone else has. But I don't see IQ when it comes to Furkan Korkmaz on a basketball.
I'm putting Furkan on your list right now, people you absolutely despise.
All right. Here are my 3 points about Furkan that I have about this upcoming season. 1,
ended 3 points.
I don't hate Furkan. I hate the way he was probably utilized, and it got to the point where it made me hate him. One of the big reasons
very fair point
on the floor is because every time in the playoffs with a hurt Ben Simmons, he was the first guy off the bench. I get it. The bench was really weak last year in the playoffs. But still, having to see Furkan being your 6th man is really upsetting every night when you're going against your ultimate rival. You can't knock me there. 2, do I think he's going to have some decent minutes? Yeah, because I think he's going to get used better. Do I think those minutes are going to slowly phase out, especially if Matisse is what they've said about Matisse, that he has been emphasizing on 3-point shooting? Absolutely. Matisse comes out and he's a good shooter this year or anywhere close to Furkan, Furkan's going to lose a ton of minutes. If Tyrese Maxey starts developing into a better player and he starts getting minutes later in the season, I don't think Furkan's going to even sniff over 10 minutes because you're just going to have guys that do the same thing and probably do it in a better fashion than him. Especially with a guy like Shake, too, who is an amazing catch-and-shoot 3 guy. I don't hate Furkan. It's just that I hate watching him. All right?
If Matisse Thybulle shoots 40% this year, he's going to make the All-Star team. It's plain and simple at this point. The dude's already going to be an all-defensive caliber defender this year, probably. Obviously not make the All-Star team. That was a joke before I get it. If Thybulle makes threes, he'll be Mikal Bridges.
I have no time for guys on the roster. I have no time for guys on the roster that if they're not hitting shots, they cannot be on the floor. It's not like if he's not hitting shots, he's just useless, but you can hide him on defense or whatever.
That's the biggest issue with him because with Matisse, if he's not hitting shots, I know he's locking down his man. With Tyrese Maxey, I'm assuming at the NBA level, if he's not hitting shots, he's getting to the cup. You know what I mean? There's other aspects of guys' games that Furkan just doesn't have. If everything Furkan they've said about Furkan, him putting on weight, him working on his ball handling.
Prove me wrong. I hope so.
Serviceable? Fucking right. Let's go Furkan. I'm all aboard the Furkan train. Let's go. All day. But as of right now, the way he was utilized, what we have seen from him over the last 2 seasons, I'm just not that excited. When we have other guys we're more excited about. They're talking about Seth Curry having a bigger role as a ball handler than he was in Dallas. You're just assuming then that means there's just less space for Furkan. Furkan is the GOAT.
So again, to phrase it correctly, how I would have my rotation. I get what you're right. If Danny Green and Seth Curry start together, you need that 3-point shooting, that spacing to come off the bench. So, yeah, he's going to have minutes. What I would do is only start one of them.
Which is what I'm saying. That's why I think
that role is not needed.
That's why I think Shake will be the starter. Because I don't think they would want Matisse to start to begin with. Because that's just where you said you're surrounding.
That's a great comment.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm not a fan of Enes Kanter. Kanter pisses me the fuck off.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, so, but you said you want to surround Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons with shooting. So I don't see why Tease would get put in the starting lineup unless he magically, like Snap said, starts shooting 40% from three, which
what if he shoots 38? Or 30?
Yeah. What did he shoot last year? I don't even know what he shot last year.
I know he shot 35, 34. Like, he's not far off.
But Matisse probably took, 2 a game at most. So
I'll find out right now.
If Matisse can shoot, Matisse is probably set in stone the third starter for the next 7 years.
It's not even close.
Yeah, so – but again, I feel like you guys are making it out like that. I'm jumping in my seat to watch Furkan Korkmaz play this season. Don't get me wrong. Like,
all right. We got to wrap up the show. On next week's episode, I have Sixers forward Furkan Korkmaz coming on as a special guest.
No, here's the stats quoting Gink. Gink got it basically on the nail with Matisse's shooting. Matisse made about 0.9 threes a game. He shot about 2.4 a game, and he shot 35.7. If you see an upgrade of that to like almost
37.5, 38,
attempted, and he's shooting at a clip of like 37, 38, there's no reason he shouldn't be starting, and there's no reason like
I hope so. Like,
yeah,
I'm not relying on that. I don't think it's gonna. I don't know. That's gonna happen.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean that's a lot to ask out of.
That's a lot to ask out of a second year.
24th second year draft in his second season.
It's gonna happen. I'm saying if it happens.
Yeah, I'm totally agree.
It's happening by the end of the season though, because like we watch this guy get better and better all year. Like he's one of those players that really has a great work ethic, and he seems like a great glue guy. If I would just want him to be on the floor no matter what, or be a big part of this team, because I feel like everyone on the team just loves this kid. Like. So I'd rather Matisse, obviously.
Well, this conversation has spun out of control.
One more point. Sorry, not about either of those players. But did you see that Justin Anderson in the bubble was talking to Joel Embiid about coming back?
I forgot they brought him back.
Yep.
But here's my point: how many players do you think Justin Anderson in a contract year said that to?
A ton.
Every single former team that he's ever had, he probably went up to. He's like, "Yo, I want to get back on the squad next year."
Bring back to
Embiid though when he was here.
I like Justin Anderson.
Well, he said he feels like he's out.
He makes the squad.
I love Justin Anderson because he went face to face with Dwayne Wade and tried fighting him in the playoffs.
I didn't even know he was in the G League last year.
Yeah, man.
That's
but
why.
before we wrap up the show, because this conversation spun way out of control with Furkan, and I literally wasn't like Furkan's probably a great guy. I'd love to talk to him sometime. He's probably awesome. I just don't want to watch him play in the red, white, and blue next year. A whole lot.
The Wizards, our rival.
He's going to come out and shoot like 45% from three this year, but
and we're all going to love it.
Decent handle, and he can get to the cup all of a sudden. Fuck it.
I hope he does.
Fuck me, right?
I just want to prove. I just want to see this because I have no problem if he had to play. Like last year, he had to play, and I guess that's what made me dislike him because he had to play so much, and it showed me what he's not good at on the floor. If he can come in a limited role and shoot well from three, I have no issue with it. I don't want him playing over guys he shouldn't be playing over, like we saw with Brett Brown.
He won't.
So I want to just see this real quick. Just keep track with me. Roster spots: Ben 1, Joel 2, Toby 3, Matisse 4, Shake 5, Tyrese 6. Is Isaiah? No, we won't count Isaiah Joe. White 7. I'm already Danny Green, Seth Curry. What am I at?
Seth, you got to restart. Ben,
Shake,
Tobias, Joel, Danny Green.
Guys, this should not be this difficult.
Danny Green, Seth Curry, Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle,
Dwight Howard. What are we at?
That's 9.
That's it.
Yeah, see, that's 9 guys that are going to play consistently every night. I would assume then Justin Anderson probably makes the team. Isaiah
Yeah, I could see it.
Isaiah Joe or Terrence Ferguson
Yeah.
will probably make the team, and then you have one more guaranteed spot that's not a two-way spot. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Isaiah. I guess it has to be Isaiah Joe.
I mean, you drafted him.
Oh, well, Furkan.
No, Furkan. We just talked about it for 25 minutes.
What the hell is going on right now?
I was trying to figure out how many
I'm
guys
gonna say, I guess it's got to be Tony Bradley.
I was trying to have over him. Wow.
That's a roster that is the third best team in the Eastern Conference currently.
I'll take it.
With a great coaching staff.
Yeah.
Real quick, who do you guys?
And a competent front
Who do
office.
you think the playoff picture in the East is going to be? Because I think there's going to be some new teams in the playoffs.
I wrote mine down. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
I didn't expect you. I haven't written down, but fucking
Dude, I had COVID for 2 weeks. Anything you could think of in sports, I did. I got Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Philadelphia,
As a two?
Brooklyn, yeah,
Okay.
Philadelphia,
No,
Boston,
Philly's the three. Philly's the three.
yeah,
So-
Philadelphia, Boston, Miami,
5.
Toronto, Indiana, or Atlanta, Indiana.
Yeah.
I really
in the playoffs. Anyone that doesn't think that is out of their damn mind. They upgraded that roster
who?
in Atlanta.
Yeah, they won the offseason.
Yeah, but they're not in the top 6.
No, but
No, but compared to where they were, they added veterans to a youthful roster, which is going to really help, especially a roster that needed a veteran leadership. No, Detroit's not making the
No.
No, Detroit. No.
Well,
Leandro Ball.
I really wanted to pick Detroit. One,
Sorry.
because they drafted Sadiq Bey. Two, they had the best draft in the NBA. And three, I think Blake's going to be really good this year.
They drafted Sadiq Bey.
They drafted Killian Hayes, Isaiah Stewart, and Sadiq Bey in the first round. All three of those were in my top 15 in the draft. And I wanted to pick them over Indiana, but Indiana still has talent on their roster because they didn't lose Miles Turner. They didn't lose Victor Oladipo. Like, they still have good players.
I mean, I could see Detroit, but the biggest question mark with Detroit for me is Blake Griffin going to give you a full season or not?
Yeah, well, he's not.
And that's my point. Like, that's the best player on the roster, and Derrick Rose isn't going to take you there.
Did you guys see the tweet? Like, I forget if it was a major network or whoever put out the tweet of the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference seeding, and they didn't put Portland in the playoffs.
They didn't put Portland in the playoffs.
Did you see what CJ did? CJ quoted it and added Dame and was like, just hoping you saw this or whatever.
All right, your Western, since I know we're just dragging the show out, but, like, I love this. Yeah. Just give me your Western. Kent's already got it written down.
Yeah.
Let's
got
see.
it right here. Lakers.
Got it right.
Clippers. Warriors. You got Nuggets. Mavericks. Pelicans.
Josh Hart.
Josh Hart. Yeah.
Wait, I don't have Houston on here.
Yeah, well, you better tell New Orleans.
Yeah, I got to go Houston 6, New Orleans 7, and I'm going to go Phoenix 8.
You didn't put Portland in there either.
Yeah, I just didn't put Portland.
That's what I was just saying.
Fucked up the West real bad.
I'm not on this Suns bandwagon yet. The Suns got Tyrese Halliburton, who's already is not going to play this year. It's going to hurt my feelings, but the West is really good, and I didn't realize it.
Get New
I
Orleans.
don't have Houston on there either.
Portland can miss the playoffs. It's not
They got the 8 last year for a reason. It's not like they were
exactly. And, like, you can
New
be like,
Orleans ain't better than them.
you can be like
Josh Hart.
If you bring up Josh Hart one more time.
Wait, but Portland did get Rocco.
Oh yeah, no, and don't forget
Portland Lakers. No.
Yeah, Portland.
No, but that's my point. Like, Portland isn't a shoo-in. Like, they were the 8th seed.
If Portland gets Zach Collins and Yusuf Nurkic back and they both play a whole season, they could be very good again. With them, their numbers last year with them, they were like, when they played in terms of winning percentage, were like a top 2 team or top 3 team in the Western
Well,
Conference.
they were the 3rd seed 2 years ago.
Yeah, but they didn't have that.
I think 18 and 19, they were the 3rd seed, weren't they?
Yeah, they got swept by the Pelicans, and then they lost to.
Yeah, that's why I never have faith in them ever since that series. That was the way they got dismantled by the pick and roll just absolutely blew my mind. But the Suns, I think the Suns come in because this is like Devin Booker's year to be like, all right, if I don't make the playoffs with Chris Paul and third year DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, like, so he's good.
Look at that smile.
Mikal Bridges showed in the bubble like he is a definitive starter on that team. He's a great 3-and-D guy, and that's exactly what you need next to DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker. So
yeah.
Who did we turn Mikal Bridges into? Tony Bradley.
Tony Bradley, yeah, and yeah, that was a really good trade. That was good.
GM of the year for that fucking draft.
All right, George. Who's better?
Yeah.
Who's better, the Pelicans or the Suns?
Pelicans.
No, they're not.
Snap, who's better? Snap, who's better, the Pelicans or Suns?
Don't.
If I'm going off top talent on each team, I'm picking the Suns.
Yo, and Dill, you think the Suns are better?
Yeah.
Well, because here, listen to this. The Lakers, the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Mavericks, I'm going to put – those four are probably guaranteed.
Hold on. Maybe I'm just fucking something up here. Who did New Orleans add? They lost Drew. Who did they add?
They added Steven Adams.
Steven Adams.
And
Dylan, don't give me that look. Dylan.
They added good veterans.
Dude, Lonzo – all right, listen. You have Lonzo Ball. And don't give me that he's not good. Lonzo Ball is a solid NBA player. If the Sixers should get Lonzo Ball, they should do it right now. Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart.
Don't say it.
Josh Hart.
You had them at the 6th seed.
Yeah, in the Western Conference.
The biggest question mark with New Orleans is how good is Brandon Ingram going to be after having a breakout year? And what is Zion Williamson? Is he what we got from that small sample size? If that's the type of player he is, and he's that dominant, and he's that good, and he's going to be –
You know who I'm taking?
No. No. Oh, wait, over the –
Time out.
Okay.
So, Portland, you're calling Portland. You don't have Portland in the playoffs, and you said that's – shh.
Hold on.
My turn. You don't have Portland in the playoffs. You don't have Portland in the playoffs. And you said that's because they were a fringe 8 seed last year for a reason. New Orleans
almost made the playoffs.
Zion, no. All right, Dylan, listen, Dylan.
And they jumped to the 6th with Steven Adams?
No. Listen, I think I made a mistake. I don't know. Like I said, I had COVID, dude. My head was like I was out about.
Hi, COVID, dude.
Lonzo, JJ Redick, Brandon Ingram, Zion, Steven Adams.
It's a nice 5.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Eric Bledsoe is who we're forgetting.
Yeah, okay. Great pickup.
Josh Hart, Jackson Hayes, and they have Tony Carr from Penn State, who they are treating like a mean person because he's really good.
A mean person.
Mark again is Zion the player we saw in that short stint of games? He was
Zion playing a full season.
Yeah, he is.
Zion playing a full season?
Listen,
Mark, can he stay healthy and can he stay dominant? If he can do those two things, I don't see why they can't make the playoffs, especially with Brandon Ingram sitting there. Like, are we forgetting this kid? They didn't average 24 a game.
All right, listen. So I named Lakers, Clippers, Mavericks, Nuggets. I think those 4 are locked to make the playoffs. Now you have Houston, Utah, New Orleans, Phoenix, Portland. One of those can't make it, Dylan.
You are disrespecting me.
That's not even mentioning Memphis. And
I don't know if Memphis is there yet. They had a really easy schedule in the beginning of the season. And that was a big part of why they were so high in the beginning of the season.
Okay, but so we'll just go with those 5 teams. We'll keep Memphis out because I'm
not saying anyone's a lock.
Oh,
you told me New Orleans
are a lock. The Clippers are a lock.
Oh, I mean the bottom half.
Of those bottom 5.
Yeah.
All 3 of you. Dylan, you'll go first. You had to put your money on a team right now. You're putting your money on the Pelicans?
To what, not make it?
Yeah, to be the 9th team of those teams.
Out of Utah, Houston, Portland, the Pelicans.
Houston still has Russell Westbrook and James Harden.
They're making the playoffs.
And they just got Christian Wood.
A great pick and roll fit.
And they just got Christian Wood.
They're making the playoffs.
Okay.
No doubt.
So is Utah going to make the playoffs? Because they didn't lose anyone besides – I don't think they lost anyone.
No, they're going to make the playoffs. Who did they lose?
I don't think anyone.
Okay.
They still have the Australian bull who I love. What's his name? Joe Ingles. They still have Donovan Mitchell. They still have Rudy Gobert. They have their core still.
Okay. Dylan.
Utah's in.
Utah's in. Phoenix.
You're not going to like who I'm telling you is out.
You're telling me it's New Orleans. So you're putting money on New Orleans. All right, George. This way.
It's Phoenix.
You think Phoenix is out?
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
All right. So
D3 and D-Book do not make the playoffs, and they're healthy all year. There's a big issue.
Chris Paul just made the playoffs with Gallinari and CGA.
Shy. Yeah.
dude, could you? Yeah. All right. Snap. Who do you think?
I think. Fuck. Going off health. This is the only reason I can pick a pick. I'm gonna say New Orleans, but it comes down to if Zion stays healthy and if Nurkic stays healthy. If Nurkic is hurt, Portland misses. If Zion is hurt, Pelicans miss.
Yeah, this is barring injury. This is just roster.
Yeah, I'm saying everyone healthy. If everyone's healthy, truthfully, the Suns are probably the least talented team out of those.
I'd say Pelicans out of inexperience then.
Bro, I like that's a really tough question. But
West is so far.
we didn't even mention Golden State.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
They were in the top four. I had the Lakers, Clippers, Mavericks.
Golden State 3.
You had him 3.
Lakers.
Yes,
At 3.
Top 8, yeah, but I'm saying of the 4 that I locked in, I didn't have Golden State.
It's 5. And honestly, it's 7. It's Utah, Houston, LA, Nuggets, Golden State,
Mavs.
There's 7 teams. The other 4 have to fight for the 8th seed, and it's gonna be tight, dude.
This is the year they're gonna put 10 teams in the playoffs, dude. Ratings would go through the roof.
No doubt.
Right. We just rambled on about the Western Conference.
If you're still watching the next podcast,
so fucking good, dude. They need to take one of those teams that's on the border with the East. My theory is they should just take New Orleans and somehow get
them. In that SpongeBob meme. Just take it.
Why not? Because honestly, they're already on the Mississippi River. You can throw them either way and say that they belong in that conference, right? It's the split of the country. I mean, Oklahoma City is damn near is closer to some eastern states than they are to the west, if we're being honest.
We should probably wrap this up, huh?
Second longest pod in history.
This might be number 1 now.
If you're still watching.
Yeah, we'll do a giveaway right now. $2 million out of Dylan's bank account. The next comment that's in the comments. I guarantee it's Justin Percosetti if he's still watching.
If what?
I said if Justin's still watching, I guarantee he's the next comment.
No, it might be Nadir.
But what was the $2 million? What was the $2 million out of my bank account?
They win that for the next comment if you're still watching.
Yeah, gotta go, guys. See you later. All right, follow us on Twitter at FaithfulFans2. Check out our merch on tpublic.com under the painted lines. We have Faithful Fanatics gear, t-shirts, hoodies, phone cases, long sleeves. We got crew necks.
What's the merch?
Masks, whatever you want. Go check out the merch right around Christmas time. Great gifts. We have new designs coming soon.
Should we get a I hate Furkan?
Dylan hates Furkan.
Yeah. I'm
going to make a shirt, and everyone that Dylan hates on the back. It's going to be Scott Lawton, Gardner Minshew.
It'll say on the front, Dylan hates, and a fucking list. We're going to have to make one of them shirts from 3 years ago that go
you know the shirt from WWE? It's you just made the list? That shit?
Yeah.
Furkan Korkmaz.
You just made the list. Dylan hates.
Yeah.
Back to it. Fucking name for days.
Have a nice night, everyone. I just hit myself in the head.
Peace.